Calm down, rowdy crowd. Wow, how am I going to follow all those acts? Let's hear it for everybody. No, I was hoping to come here and knock them dead. I might be too late. No, I've seen younger faces on Cash. No, but who am I to talk? I'm on a train the other day, and there's this woman sitting opposite me, and she's looking at me. And she finally says, you know, every time you smile, I want to take you back to my place. I said, oh, what are you, single? She goes, no, I'm a dentist. The last time I went to the dentist, I remember, I said, doctor, what do I do? My teeth are really yellow. He said, well, you should wear a brown tie, maybe. I went to the dentist before that. And he says, okay, sit in the chair. I sit in the chair. He said, okay, this is going to sting. I said, I'm ready. He said, I'm sleeping with your wife. Yeah, it stung. I once asked my wife, I said, am I the only one you've ever been with? She says, yes, darling, you're the only one I've ever been with, because all the others were 9s and 10s. Calm down. Listen, we met, we were working in a glue factory, and we bonded. I once met a girl in an arthritis support group. I got to tell you, we clicked right away. I got a ticket parking here the other day, and I'm shocked because there was a big sign where I left my car. It said, fine for parking. And I'm worried about my neighbor's kid, little kid. He swallowed a whole jar of quarters, so he's in the hospital. So I called, I said, how's he doing? They said, so far, no change. And kids are crazy. This other neighbor's kid, he swallowed all the Scrabble tiles. And I'm worried about him too, because, geez, when this kid goes to the bathroom, it could spell disaster. So yeah, I work in the building. My boss told me, have a good day the other day. So I left. I got in trouble. I once went for a job interview as a reverse psychologist. They said, why should we hire you? And I said, you shouldn't. But they didn't call. That was the punchline. I wanted to be a cop, and they're interviewing me. They said, what would you do if there's a riot? I said, well, if there's a riot, I'd get there early, to beat the crowd. I'm starting a new job next week. I'm a bell ringer in a church, and they're going to show me the ropes. I got a job at a chess factory making chess pieces. I don't know. They want to put me on nights. I got a job as a potato packer, but I got the sack. I got the sack. Got a job in a salad packing plant. The hours were terrible, but let me tell you, the celery was pretty good. I got a job cleaning and polishing mirrors, but I just couldn't see myself doing that. I work with addictions. I was once very addicted to chocolate, marshmallows, and nuts, and it was... I got over it, but it was a real rocky road, let me tell you. I was addicted to the hokey pokey, but of course, I turned myself around. I was addicted to seaweed once. They told me to seek kelp. Seek kelp, that's the punchline. I have an addiction to cheddar cheese, but I gotta tell you, it's pretty mild. I went to a therapist. I said, I'm addicted to buffets. I'm addicted to buffets. Can you help me? The therapist says, I'll help you, but first, you gotta help yourself. I went shopping the other day for camouflage pants. I couldn't find them. I had a girlfriend. I've broken up with a lot of girlfriends before I met my wife, and this one had like some sort of obsessive personality, OCD. She kept counting and counting and counting, so I broke up with her. And I wonder what she's up to now. I went out with a girl who had multiple personality disorder, but, she was good people. I went out with a communist once, a communist. I should have broken up with her a long time before I did, because there was a lot of red flags. Once I'm with a girlfriend. We're making out, we're kissing on the sofa, She says, hey, you want to take this upstairs? I said, yeah, I'll take this end, you take the other end. That didn't work out. All right, I'll do it. I went online for this online dating and this profile. This girl writes, I have an infectious smile. I said, I gotta meet someone with an infectious smile. So I met her. She had cold sores. I shouldn't have done it. I told my wife the other day, I said, you know, honey, you drew your eyebrows on really high. You know, she looked very surprised. Why does my wife always start a conversation with, you haven't listened to a word I've said, have you? How is that a way to start a conversation? I don't get that. My wife accused me of being self-important. Me, self-important. I almost fell off my throne. Recently, my wife got very upset because I replaced our bed with a trampoline. I gotta tell you, she hit the ceiling. But she was in such a good mood the other day. I love when my wife's in a good mood. She's in the living room, dancing on the coffee table. She's dancing on the table. I said, whoa, those are really good legs. She goes, oh, you think so? I said, yeah, most tables would have collapsed with all that. That didn't go over very well. But my wife is actually very kind and compassionate. The other day, she noticed me staring at the window a long time, just quietly staring at the window. And I give her credit because she let me in. Anyway, you've been a very nice crowd. They're coming with a hook. Thank you.